Hi there, I'm Tony Lee, and this is Hot Flasher, your daily menopause podcast that serves up fresh news, research, and wellness tips. I've built a daily news pipeline to find the latest on women's health and menopause research. Allow me to introduce my co-host Nikki, who handles the headlines. Take it away, Nikki.
Thanks, Tony. We're wrapping up another week, and I've got some stories that really made me think differently about a few things. First up, something for your weekend wellness toolkit. The BBC reported on new research about timing your workouts to your body clock, and this actually makes so much sense when I think about my own energy patterns. So researchers are saying that when you exercise might be just as important as how you exercise. Your body has natural rhythms throughout the day, your core temperature rises and falls, your hormone levels shift, your metabolism changes, and all of this affects how your body responds to physical activity. The research suggests that most people fall into either a morning or evening exercise sweet spot. Morning people, and I'm talking about actual morning people, not people who just force themselves up early. They tend to perform better with strength training and high intensity workouts in the morning when their cortisol is naturally higher. Evening people often find they have more endurance and flexibility later in the day when their core body temperature peaks. What's interesting is that this could explain why so many of us have tried morning workout routines and just couldn't stick with them. Maybe it wasn't a willpower problem. Maybe we were fighting against our natural rhythm. For those of us in perimenopause and menopause, this could be particularly relevant because our circadian rhythms are already shifting. Our sleep patterns change, our energy levels fluctuate in new ways, and suddenly that 6 a.m. spin class that used to energize us feels like torture. The researchers suggest paying attention to when you naturally feel most alert and energetic during the day, then scheduling your workouts around that time. If you're dragging yourself to the gym at a time when your body wants to be winding down, you might actually get better results by switching things up. Speaking of things we might need to switch up oral health after 40. Today.com had a piece about how our dental care routine needs to change as we age, and there are some menopause connections here that I think are worth paying attention to. Turns out the hormonal changes we go through don't just affect our periods and our sleep, they also affect our gums and our saliva production. Lower estrogen levels can lead to decreased saliva, which means less natural protection against bacteria. Our gums can become more sensitive and prone to inflammation. Dental experts are recommending that women over 40 consider switching to a softer toothbrush if they haven't already, because our gums can become more tender. They're also suggesting that we might need to be more aggressive about flossing and using mouthwash, since that decreased saliva isn't doing as good a job protecting our teeth. One thing that surprised me was the recommendation to pay more attention to the timing of when we brush our teeth. If you're dealing with acid reflux, which can increase during menopause, you don't want to brush immediately after an episode because the acid softens your enamel temporarily. Better to rinse with water and wait about an hour. The article also mentioned that dry mouth, which many of us experience during menopause, isn't just uncomfortable, it can actually increase your risk of cavities and gum disease. So staying hydrated becomes even more important, and some women might benefit from using a humidifier at night or keeping sugar-free gum handy to stimulate saliva production. Now, shifting gears to something that really opened my eyes this week. The Marshall Project published a piece about what it's like to go through perimenopause and menopause in prison, and it highlights just how much we take for granted when it comes to managing our symptoms. The women they interviewed talked about trying to navigate hot flashes in overcrowded cells with poor ventilation, dealing with irregular periods without reliable access to menstrual products, and struggling to get adequate medical care for their symptoms. One woman described how the prison would only provide basic ibuprofen for her severe menopause symptoms, and how difficult it was to explain to male guards why she needed extra water or why she was having trouble sleeping. Another talked about how the stress of prison life seemed to make her hot flashes and mood swings worse, but there were no resources to help her cope. What really struck me was how many of the challenges these women face are amplified versions of what many of us deal with in regular healthcare settings. The dismissal of symptoms, the lack of understanding from people in authority, the feeling that your needs aren't being taken seriously. But it also made me think about how much control we do have over our environment when we're not in an institutional setting. We can adjust our thermostats, choose our clothing, schedule doctor's appointments, research treatment options, buy the supplements we want to try. These women don't have those options. The piece mentioned that some prisons are starting to train staff about menopause and stock appropriate supplies, but it's inconsistent. And for women serving longer sentences, they might go through this entire transition without adequate support. It's a reminder that menopause doesn't pause for life circumstances. Whether you're in prison, caring for aging parents, dealing with job stress, or going through a divorce, your body is still going through these changes. And having support and resources makes an enormous difference in how manageable it feels. I think there's something to be said for recognizing how fortunate we are when we do have options and advocates, while also acknowledging that the system fails a lot of women, not just those who are incarcerated. Thanks for hanging out with us this week. If Hot Flasher is becoming part of your routine, hit subscribe on whatever platform you use so you don't miss any episodes. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you Monday.
That's our week. Thanks for listening to Hot Flasher. We'll be back on Monday. Have a great weekend, everyone.